Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. We're up to part 3 of this week's episode of the show. We're diving even deeper into our conversation with this week's guest. Let's continue exploring their inspiring journey. If you've missed part 1 and 2, definitely go back and catch up. Also, if you're not subscribing, please subscribe. Enjoy the rest of the show. See you soon.
I was open, I was smiley, but when my brain started to form, when my thought process started to form and was activated, I guess it was that point.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like that's the pivotal point, is it? That if you had any work done yourself, I don't know if you have since regarding that childhood moment, but maybe that's where we'd need to dig deep into, even like hypnotherapy, getting, because you can't consciously think about it. Sometimes I did a live recording with a hypnotherapist not long ago on the podcast, and he's now become a good friend. He's actually here in Melbourne, and we were able to figure out things that I didn't even know through his questioning, and it was fascinating. I don't know. Maybe that's something to look at in the future. I don't know. With school then in Ukraine, you mentioned you were bullied in school as well. What was life like at home?
At home, my parents were committed to making money, so they were were not present in my life. I was taken care by my grandmother and grandfather. So, and my parents didn't participate a lot in my upbringing and in my interest. And very often I was criticized by my parents, especially by my father. I was criticized, I was put down, but I forgave them because I understand that it was like a generational traumas, generational issue, because if they were not gifted with unconditional love, with support, with uplifting, they couldn't give it to me. So now I look at that without any like bad feelings. I accepted this, that there was a reason why it happened, and maybe I will be the one who will break these generational curses, and I cultivated this unconditional love inside myself, so I will be able to pass it to my future children.
Yeah, great perspective. A good way to turn that around completely. Absolutely. Because life in Ukraine, what was life like in the 90s in Ukraine? Because it wasn't an easy place to grow up, was it? You said your parents were having to work quite a lot. Was it hard to pay for things and for food, for houses, rent, mortgage, whatever it may have been? What was it like there?
It was hard. My parents, when I was born, my parents didn't have a lot of money. They struggled with money, with like providing for me. And my mom was at school. School teachers got very little money, and they bullied her too. So when she was pregnant with my sister, she was forced to leave, and she started her business. It was she started from scratches. My grandfather helped her, like my grandmother, like her mother, gave her money to start a business. It was extremely hard. And she's still working nonstop. My mom has no day off. Like she works every single day, and it's like break my heart because I didn't build legacy for myself yet, so I can't retire her. But I really dream that one day I will, because I struggled a lot. So when other people were creating families, were building legacies, were building financial stability, I was struggling to survive. And yeah, so I will definitely be a late bloomer because
Me too. Don't worry about it.
yes.
So your mum was bullied as well. You've been bullied. You think? Well, I'm assuming was that you had something in common that you could both relate to when you were being bullied as a child. Did you ever go to your parents? I think you mentioned earlier that you couldn't go to your parents, but did you ever go to your parents and tell them that you were being bullied and some of the hard times you were facing?
In middle school, I once told my parents that I was bullied, but they told that they were bullied too, so it's normal. Like
Mm.
children bully children, it's normal. They've been through the same stuff, so they didn't protect me. And as the reason I think they didn't do that, because first of all, they were busy. And second, they didn't know how to, because they didn't stand for themselves. No one stood for them. So they didn't know what to do, you know. And
How, can you remember how that made you feel at the time?
I felt betrayed. I felt bad because the only people I could reach out for help and for protection were my parents. But sadly enough, they were not able to protect me. So that is like how my resilience started to be built, because I was bullied many times, and as a child, I couldn't stand for myself. Even as an adult, I couldn't stand for myself, and I was through a lot of different and difficult and hard situations in my life. And every time I felt miserable, I felt vulnerable, I felt that I could do nothing with that. And it was thousands of this situation when I started to realize that actually I can stand for myself.
Yeah, it's because you weren't getting the support from where you needed, though, and you felt betrayed. At that age, what coping mechanisms what did you use to cope? Was there any coping mechanisms that you reverted to?
Yeah, I've been struggled with being overweight all my life. So my coping mechanism from childhood was eating. Like I couldn't have better way of releasing my emotions than eating them,
Mm.
like eating them out. So I ate a lot of food. One day I remember I ate 10 ice creams a time as a kid. So, and it's still, for me, it's hard. Like, I every time I get in shape, every time I put an effort to control my diet, to do exercises, every time like I put myself in good like physical state, something happened. Like I deal with a betrayal, or I deal with a narcissist, and as it is activated, emotions are too high, too big, that I understand in my mind that it's not a good way to cope. It will not help, but they are so high that it is like it was the only way to cope. Now I'm recovering. I control what I eat, and I try to feel my emotions no matter how intense they are. I try to feel them and let them go. Like I see you, I accept you, but you don't control me. I am more than my emotions, or like my mind or my thought. I am more than that, and I'm in control.
So apart from food, then, because that was part of my journey was food. I didn't revert to alcohol or drugs or anything like that, but I did revert to just staying on the couch at night till early hours of the morning because I didn't want the next day to come. And I would eat chocolate and big blocks of chocolate and chips, crisps, as I would call them in the UK, and bottles of Coke. And as much as I didn't really put on too much weight, I'm naturally quite a small guy. I think internally I was destroying myself, and so I can relate to your coping mechanisms, and I'm fully aware of the repercussions on the body and the mind through food or lack of exercise or lack of sun, lack of nature, whatever it may be. I can now see and feel the effects when I do have a movie night and I have some chocolate. I kind of look at it. It's weird because it's not the same as alcohol, but in a way it kind of is because I eat it and I go, right, well, I'm going to hurt tomorrow. I'm going to be in pain because I can feel it differently now because I've self-reflected and like you say, I understand you like what you just said about understanding your emotions and sitting them, going through and then letting them go. I kind of, in a way, do some, similar things. What do you do now then, apart from being conscious of the food that you put in your body? Is there anything else that you do I've kind of lost my way recently, but when I'm in routine of, because I still teach casually, so I can do the podcast. I'm a casual relief teacher. So I basically go in there and I don't have much stress. I just teach and I can move on and don't have emails and I don't have meetings. So it's no chronic stress. Love it. However, so I have a routine that I kind of do in the morning, cold water. I think that makes a huge difference. It's a cellular level, clarity level in my mind. I eat fish. I don't eat certain parts of the day. What else do I do? I walk with the sunrise. I walk with my dog, and I walk in the evenings and things like that. And I play basketball a few times a week to get that extra energy, the extra stress on my body in terms of getting the heart pumped a little bit faster. I lift weights, not for vanity reasons, just to stay strong, nothing too big. And I find that works for me. I've probably rambled on there a little bit, but what do you do? Is there anything else that you do apart from being conscious of everything you've just mentioned?
Yes, I comfort myself. I talk good words to myself instead of criticizing myself or telling why you feel so deeply and so emotionally again, why you can't stop doing that. I don't criticize myself. I take everything away. I sit down and talk with myself like my best friend, comforting myself. Dancing is a good way to release stress and emotions from my body. I
Mm.
like dancing and I dance it out, I sing it out, I walk it out, and I drink a lot of water. I love water so much now, and I can really differentiate different tastes of water because water tastes differently, by the
Mm.
way.
Absolutely. I know. That's pretty much the only liquid I put in my body is water. And I love how that makes me feel, and that I don't feel the grogginess that of having a Coke. We went camping at the weekend, so I did actually have some Coke because I was around other people, and they had a bit, so I did have a little bit, but I felt it, and I felt disgusting afterwards. But even the level of water now, if we want to be picky with water, even the water that comes out of the tap, apparently isn't great for you here. I don't know what it's like in Ukraine, but here in Australia, it's got fluoride in it, and that's not great for you. And apparently, I've been reading that hydrogen water is supposedly the best type of water. Is there something you do with your water, or is it the same as me out of the tap?
No, water from the tap isn't good. It's
Mm.
dangerous. So I buy water.
Yep.
I buy it, but I heard that it's not a good idea to put it in plastic bottles.
Hmm.
But in Ukraine, we don't have like alternative right now. All water is in plastic. Some water is in like glass bottles, but it's very little amount of water is in plastic in glass bottles, but it's very expensive. And it's not you can't afford it to buy every day like this bottle of water in glass bottles. So
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Yeah, there's layers to that water conversation for sure. But yeah, no, so I love the dancing thing and the music because we as cultures we've been actually listening to music for tens of thousands of years, haven't we? And so it's very therapeutic. I love that you've mentioned that because all the other guests that when we talk about recovery, when we talk about daily habits, I can honestly say not one of them has mentioned about singing or dancing. You're the first one, so that's absolutely phenomenal. So if anyone was listening and is going through very similar things, they can take that away with them. Um, it's fascinating. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love it. So, was there anything else from your childhood then that we might have missed off that would you think the viewers would need to hear?
I guess I mentioned all of that I was bullied, I was reserved, I
Mhm.
had my throat chakra blocked. And you know what? I think from this perspective, from now, actually, I think it was also part of a plan because the way I saw it, and if I let it out of my mouth, like my thoughts, my deep feelings, I guess. Um, it could be threatening for me as a child, because as a child I couldn't stand for myself. I wasn't grounded. I didn't know like what this world can be, so maybe my ideas or the way I feel maybe would be threatening for like school institution, or like for how this world is working, and I couldn't protect myself from mm, from what it could create in my life, And my parents, they were not so deep, and they were not so into spirituality, into feeling deeply, So they wouldn't understand me, and maybe my surrounding wouldn't understand me. But now, when my throat chakra is open, I'm deeply grounded in who I am. I can stand for myself, and even for those who can't stand for themselves, because I'm very passionate about that, because they remind me on me, and they remind me that I had no one, so I want to be that one person, And maybe everything is for a reason. Like, if to see from different perspective, from higher perspective, maybe that fact that I was underdog, that I couldn't speak up, that I couldn't stand up for myself, maybe I needed that experience, so I know now how it feels, so I know what to tell, how to lead that person with similar experience. So I don't say that I'm so happy I've been through that. No, it was hard. It was
Yeah.
harsh, but I'm really grateful for the place I am now, and I can resonate with so many people's experience. Like, I struggle with a lot of issues in my life, so I can resonate with so many people, and it is amazing because I can help all those people because I know exactly how they feel.
I mean, that's important, isn't it? Especially even as a coach, and even you acknowledging now that you still there's still things that you go through, right? It's important that the viewers hear that, because this podcast isn't about, yes, we might be leading our own way, some shape or form, but these people still go through things. But it's about now being able to deal with them in a much healthier way, because we're more present with ourselves and we've worked on ourselves. Because if we stayed in that dark space from years ago, it would just be like a ball effect, a rolling snowball that would just gradually get worse and bigger as it's getting further, or should I say, maybe up the hill. But because you've gone through that pivotal moment, you can be now the best life coach, or the best coach you can be with these people you're going to deal with, because of the things you've been through and the emotions you've been through, and the struggles and the darkness, and how you've come through. What would you say that pivotal change for you was, and when? Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.